The past few days of proceedings in the trial for Chris Carbert and Anthony Olenek here in Lethbridge, Alberta, have essentially been impossible to report on with precision and accuracy, given the nature of the evidence and the presentation from the Crown. However, I got what I needed. I got the evidentiary exhibit, so now I can do my job properly. Robert Kraychik reporting for Rebel News. So, Tyler, what do you want to tell our audience about Chris Carbert?
Well, I first met Chris last July. I spent 17 days in Lethbridge Correctional Facility, and I was his cellmate for those 17 days. Not knowing him personally, but knowing about the whole situation, it was actually a great relief to be with him in there. Great guy, amazing fellow.
The 2022 Coutts protest and blockade took place essentially at the same time as the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. Both were civilly disobedient and peaceful demonstrations broadly opposed to this governmental apparatus of surveillance and control marketed as some sort of public health measure to combat COVID-19 transmission. Both Chris Carbert and Anthony Olenek are charged with conspiracy to murder. The Crown is accusing the two men of conspiring to murder police officers during their time demonstrating at the 2022 Coutts protest and blockade. The two defendants are also charged with unlawful possession of a firearm for a dangerous purpose and mischief over $5,000. Anthony Olenek is additionally charged with unlawful possession of an explosive device for a dangerous purpose. The two men have pled not guilty to all the charges against them. All proceedings in this trial since this past Friday have been dedicated to a series of witnesses invited by the Crown, all from the RCMP, who testified to their roles in either extracting data and information from or interpreting and analyzing information and data from the mobile phones of the two defendants. All the evidentiary exhibits across these recent days relate to this phone data, mostly in the form of text messages, either sent from or received by the mobile phones of the two defendants. And these text messages were sent and received via all sorts of different apps, whether it's the native SMS text messaging app on the given phone, whether it's Telegram, whether it's Signal or Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Now, all the data and information presented to jurors came in the form of a slideshow, and each slide had this sort of grid layout where all the relevant data, according to the Crown, was presented, the time that the message was sent, who sent the message, who received the message, and also the message itself. Now, the names of the defendants or the people to whom they sent or received messages from were not included on the slide. It's a bunch of phone numbers, in part because the Crown cannot be 100% certain that a message sent or received from a phone associated with a particular individual was actually sent or received by that particular individual. So, Tyler, what do you want to tell our audience about Chris Carbert?
Well, I first met Chris last July. I spent 17 days in Lethbridge Correctional Facility, and I was his cellmate for those 17 days. Not knowing him personally, but knowing about the whole situation, it was actually a great relief to be with him in there. Great guy, amazing fellow.
On Wednesday, I submitted this, let's call it, evidentiary release form. It's a formal request which gets presented to the judge, in this case, Justice David Lebrans, to get approval for the release of an evidentiary exhibit to me for the purpose of journalism. He granted it. There were no issues from either the prosecutors or defense lawyers, so thanks to all of them. And I was given a flash drive with the evidentiary exhibit slideshow, so I can now review it carefully and report on it with accuracy and precision. Side note, bonus information, the courthouse staffers here were very helpful in helping me submit this form and get this whole process done, and helping me execute my journalistic project. I'll share some texts that were presented as evidence by the Crown during this trial. First, I'll begin with those that I selected that were sent by Anthony Olenek. Here's some quotes. Certain patriots might need to be called into action if this movement gets stalled out, can't let up, and can't let them win. Another one. It, this is our last hope, and then you know what comes next. Here's another quote. This is it. If this doesn't work, it's war, so we have nothing to lose. Hunting season for elites, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. No bag limit. Shoot as many as you want. Their army of the vaxxed zombies will all be gone by then. Sharpen your hunting skills on them first.
I don't know what I would have done most nights. Is I was just getting into prison at that time, hungry, and he actually would reach out. He'd ask me if I wanted food, if I was hungry. He would, every Sunday, he would actually read from the Bible to us, because we were locked up in our cell Sundays way more than any other day, right? So, yeah, just the amount of respect that he has for anybody, for, a guy he doesn't even know, was absolutely amazing.
Here's some texts that were sent from Chris Carbert's phone. You should have seen the diversity of people and various ages on the side of the road with signs for the Alberta convoy. People have had enough of trampling of rights. Here's some more. Doing everything I can not to have a war. We are showing the world we are trying to end this. I'm afraid that if we don't get this done, it turns really, really bad. Here's another quote. They have our phones tapped up here for sure. The world is watching. If they show aggression, it will be the single biggest mistake in human history. This is for every human on planet Earth. This is bigger than the RCMP. 2,300 RCMP went on stress leave today. We are doing this for their families too. Most of them want this, they just can't say it. Get the message out to make sure it stays peaceful, and if any agitators are there, to film them. This is bigger than me now. I'd be letting a lot of people down. Last quote. I just want our kids to be able to live free. I was scared because people got too content with the government taking away our rights. I don't care what anyone says, it wasn't going to stop. You know, the government had us so divided, and all of us dirty people were being kicked out of society. Now we will be celebrated. I don't care, but I really hope people wake up. Even though I've been slammed, said I should be in jail, said I shouldn't get health care, and chastised, I'll still fight for everyone. I am on the right side, and I know that. You have any thoughts on the charges against him, the most significant of which is conspiracy to murder?
Yeah, after meeting him, like I've been from Lethbridge, and I know some people from Lethbridge, some bad guys. As one of the most genuinely nice people I've ever met. The fact that anyone would construe that against a man like that is absolutely ridiculous.
Chris Carbert's phone also had several photographs of firearms on it, and the RCMP experts that were invited to testify stated that those photographs were taken near his personal residence. So I got the flash drive yesterday with the prosecution's presentation and exhibits on it. I began going through it today. It's something like hundreds of pages of slides. It's going to take me a while to go through that thoroughly, just to give you folks a little insight into the volume of work that goes into this journalistic enterprise. And keep in mind that we at Rebel News view this trial as an item of deep importance to Canadians. Our so-called mainstream media counterparts have a different point of view. I essentially never see them, and I'm hearing proceedings all day, every day. And unlike our counterparts, we're not getting handouts from the federal government in order to toe the political line of the day, which is why we depend on our generous audience to help fund this operation. So please contribute, invest in this project, visit truckertrial.com, and stay up to date with our ongoing coverage.